We are on. Okay. Afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our other live chat today. I've got with me our colleague Tony Gavin. Tony is Tony. How's things, Tony?
Really well, thanks, Justin. Yeah, I think as well as can be expected at the moment. But yeah, good.
And is it raining in Manchester as it is in Carlingford in Ireland this afternoon?
No, it's not raining. We've got the permanent grey skies outside that we always have, but it's not actually raining, and it's pretty warm actually at the moment. So yeah, could be worse.
Could be worse. Yeah, it was pretty warm here. I don't know why we're not getting onto LinkedIn. Let me just give 1 second. Don't want the LinkedIn people to be left out. Okay, and so yeah, we were just talking just before we came on there. We are just can't get this to work on LinkedIn. Yeah, lockdown's been quite interesting for everybody. You've been busier than ever.
Yeah, definitely busier than ever because yeah, so I run 3 different businesses, so and they all do very different things. So the lockdown has affected them in very different ways. In some ways, the clinic was easier than the other 2 to deal with in some ways, but more difficult in others. Because I think, thinking back, I think most of the problems came from the uncertainties around what to do, what's going to be the best thing to do. Because obviously at the beginning, if we cast our minds back, I think the information coming forward, it wasn't always clear. And I think trying to do the right thing you had all these different pulls, didn't you? You had your own personal experience that you needed to deal with. You had the needs of the business, and you also had the needs of your patients as well. And there was a lot of conflict with those 3 different things, I think, early days as to what's the right thing for me to be doing at this point, and making sure that you're complying with the lockdown rules, you're staying legal, but you're also honouring your duty of care to your patients and doing the right things for yourself and your own family personally as well. So I think that was early on. I think everyone went through that that position of feeling massively conflicted over a number of things, and then that transitioned quite fast into certainly a lot of the people I spoke to is about the government support, what's going to work, how am I going to be able to ensure there's a business to go back to. So there was that transition, wasn't there? And they mean very different things to everyone's different business, because so many people have, certainly in the world of podiatry, there's no 2 practices that are the same. You've got all these variables over, do you employ staff? Have you got associates? Are you a limited company? Are you a sole trader? Are you in a partnership? Do you rent a company?
Are you all sorts of different regulations? I mean, there was a lot of people who were companies weren't able to get grants or loans and different things, and it was all a whole up in the air because of the way it was structured. Oh, we're back again. We're okay now. Yeah. So yeah, and as you said, it was continually sort of changing and evolving, and day to day was all, and there was good information, and then there wasn't, and then it changed, and of course it's still happening like that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think certainly my experience with lots of people is they've adapted to new routines, and they've understood things for their business, what need to happen to make sure that their business survives and can move forward. And that's been a transition I think that a lot of people have been through in this period. And I think also spending a lot of time about thinking, what do you want your business to do for you in the future? That's a huge thing, because there's always this nagging voice, isn't there, that we should be going for growth. And I think quite often that's misunderstood as to what is growth. And that's something I'm always really keen on, because I'm a firm believer that nothing exists in a state of stasis in the world. Nothing stays the same. So for a healthy business, you always need an element of growth. Well, that doesn't always mean new customers. It doesn't always mean more customers. It doesn't always mean more staff. It can come in other ways, the growth. So it can be more quality, it can be more personalized, it can be more niched, it can be more of a balance for what you want from it yourself personally. It can serve your family better. So growth can be pursued in lots of different ways. And I think something a lot of us have been through is this, well, when everything's taken away from you, it's very easy to decide what are the things that actually matter, what are the things that genuinely bring me joy, what are the things now that are not happening that make me really quite sad and miserable. And that's a great opportunity to focus in with the businesses and think, how do we make this now so it's doing those things that matter?
Because a lot of the talks that we gave, and I don't know whether you've seen this stuff I've done with Dave James and Kate Markland and Celia, right back from sort of March early on, it's like, do you really want to be rushing back, really fast into a, the same business again, the same thing? Now is the time to reevaluate again, time to sort of take, reevaluate and, as you say, leave out the things that you don't want to do. Why rush back to just doing the same old sort of thing? And I'm certainly aware of certain colleagues who've decided not to go back to practice or have completely pivoted away from bricks and mortar onto online. I mean, a lot of practices. My colleague Anthony Claffey in Dublin, purely online now. I know a colleague in the States. She's a pelvic specialist, women's pelvis issues. She's completely online now. I mean, it's changed. I mean, I know you say now, I mean, we'll get to the OSGO conference in a little bit, and that's all going to be online. I'm working on online e-learning sort of stuff as well. So but yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot of uncertainty and things at the time, and slightly clearer now. Although, of course, talking with colleagues in Melbourne a couple of days ago, my physio friend Dave Monroe, I mean, it's things are pretty bad there at the moment as well. So yeah, continuing to sort of change and evolve. And so yeah, of course, I know you have a lot of contact with a huge amount of podiatrists, because through your OSGO practice or the OSGO business, you provide a huge amount of services through through training courses, through all the sort of the systems that should be in your sort of practice, and all those sort of things. As you said, you were helping people with their their marketing at the time. And so tell me a little bit more how OSGO developed out of the development of OSGO.
Yeah, absolutely. So OSGO's had a bit of an advantage because it's a relatively young company. So it being, was it nearly 5 years old now? It's always been very digital in its presence, in its solutions, and because all the new creations are able to look towards a new technology. So we don't have.
Joined OSGO, really simple. I just signed up, clicked the thing, and just downloaded. Everything was there online, all ready to go. Customize it yourself, and away you go. It was fantastic, and that was 6 years ago. I was on there. And when did OSGO start?
Yeah, 5 years ago. So we've been going for almost 5 years now. So that's one of the great advantages we have, is we don't have a legacy of paperwork or doing things in a way that's non-digital. So we had a massive advantage of being in that place with a really big digital presence already. Of course, in any industry, you do the things that work. So a lot of the activities that OSGO did were face-to-face things and things that people expect to happen from kind of like traditional businesses. So we were able to lurch even further into the digital space during this time. So we've released a new learning platform called OSGO Learning, OSGOlearning.uk. Might as well get a plug in there for it. And something we've always done education events, and we've held stuff on our normal website, but we've created a new platform because one thing that we identified is the desire for doing CPD. It's almost impossible to do any of the original activities during the lockdown, and we felt there was an opportunity to kind of improve the way that it's delivered through a platform which delivered education that gives business education and also some clinical education as well, all targeted towards people who are running a private practice. But the new platform allows it to be done with short clip videos, all of the supporting information, multiple choice questions, and you're able to do this in like 5-minute bites. So you can start it on your smartphone, you can then pick it up on your laptop, you can then go do a bit more on your desktop. So that you can really tailor the learning towards what's going to.
I must pick your brains after, because I was on with my guys in the States yesterday, and they were all, what sort of LMS platform do you want? And I was like, okay, well, we'll have to research that. So I'll pick your brains after, because that's what they're all about. Yeah, do you want to have a test on it? Do you want to see how people are progressed? Do you not want to let them progress to the next module until they've completed that one? I was doing this to support the biomechanics and the foot mobilization courses I had hoped to run through October in London, Spain, and Dublin. But well, that's, so we're doing the e-learning. I was going to do some anyway, to pre-course and post-course, and I think a lot of things were, I think, as you said before, people want to go on a course and be able to implement something in their clinic and practice on a Monday morning. But research shows that actually only about 10 to 12% of people actually implement anything. So they don't do those courses. So my thing is going to be, let's make sure that you actually can take the course. What's the point in going and doing a bloody course? You don't actually use it, get the benefit from it.
Absolutely. And I think it's understanding what does CPD mean to the private practitioner? What's the motivation for doing it? For me, they have to come out of the other side of the course being able to do something they couldn't do before, or understand something they didn't fully understand before. And if it doesn't achieve those things, then is it right to be in this environment of being delivered to the private practitioner? Because the strong messages from OSGO since its inception has always been making the world of private practices more robust, and kind of reinvesting back into the infrastructure of the profession so that private practices can weather storms, so that they can employ more, so that they can improve their service offering, so that when people retire and they're ready to sell their practice, they have an inherent value to them. So we're not always starting again from zero with every practice that opens. So everything we do.
Have you taken best sort of practices from what you see maybe in dentistry or in other sort of professions that are slight years ahead, really, a long time of our profession?
Yes, absolutely. So a huge amount of influence from the pharmacy world, and our original setup of OSGO, it was a joint venture with a pharmaceutical distributor who owned a pharmacy membership organization, that a large national brand. So a lot of understanding around the similarities, although they're primarily retailing part of their business, there was a lot of understanding around how they have made that industry so much more mature to be able to support the profession. Because I think certainly in the world of podiatry, there's a lot of autonomous single practices that don't always capture and retain all of the value of what they do, that allows for the development of other practitioners within that business, and then create retained value within the business itself, because a lot of it just exists within the owner operator. And when they come to
the IPs with them, so there's not here around. And then the work smarter, not harder, did it spin out of OSGO?
So this is something that Jonathan had as his own course when we met in very early days of OSGO launching. I think it was Jonathan reached out to me at first and just asked me what you're doing and what's going on, and we had a conversation, and I discovered that he had this course, and I was like, this is one of the key things that the profession really needs to hear, this message as to what's available for them to do. So we further developed it, and we kind of dovetailed in some of the things that I have to say around running a business and systemizing and marketing and those ideas, and we created Work Smarter Not Harder 1, and it's gone on and further developed to a second day.
It was 3 years ago in London. It was 3 years ago, coming up in September, that I met with you guys in London. It was a very good course to do, and it was I mean, again, if anybody has seen it, Work Smarter Not Harder, you can find it on Facebook with Jonathan Small, and it's fantastic. Just simple ideas like, increasing your prices for Saturday or evening or early morning appointments, how you structure your diary, all those different things that you only get from experience of practice. Because I think also that's that thing as well, is that, yeah, we're, as you say, you could leave, qualify as a podiatrist, put up your sign, in you go, and never talk to another person again, and never have to do it. Of course, there's core CPD that needs to be done, and that's going to be quite pertinent in Ireland here when we come online with the thru, the equivalent of the HPC, whatever, in the UK. There's going to be core modules that you're going to be doing for CPD, and then every year that'll have to be sort of re-evaluated and redone. So it should be interesting times. And then work smarter, not harder. And so as OSGO then continued, and so the foot and ankle show then, which is just keep going. You're busier than I am. The foot and ankle show. Well, this coming October is going to be your third one, I believe.
So it will be the second foot and ankle show. We did 3 conferences beforehand. We did OSGO Live 1, 2, and 3, which were full day events, which were fantastic, and they were splitting the conference experience between exactly half of the program was business focused, the other half was clinical focused, and it was changing the way stuff was delivered. So the talks were all 15 minutes long, so that the presenters really got to the absolute fundamental points of their messages. It was a really fast-paced day. We had a load of fun. We had flash mob, choir singers, we had a mime artist, and we had lots of games and stuff. So it was a real kind of high energy atmosphere for the day. And we outgrew the venue at Salford Quay. So then last year we moved to Liverpool and we changed it to the foot and ankle show. We had 1,000 delegates there. And we do things differently to a normal conference because it's all in the one hall. So we have the main stage sat in the center of the exhibition hall, and the acoustic guys do some clever things with the acoustics so that you can hear the full talks really well when you're sat in the audience, and then you can go out to the exhibition and it's not intrusive. So it was fabulous. It really was.
Get the acoustic guys here because it's just turned up with the second load of tarmac of the day. Okay, we'll see what happens now. They were going with the vibrator, and the whole apartment was shaking. So bear with us, everybody, if it gets a bit noisy. And so I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, my only sort of, I've been to a couple of the UK College of Podiatry conferences. I think my last one was in Bournemouth 10 years ago. So I learned a lot about PASCOM. I didn't know what it was. I was in Ireland. I think it's an NHS statistics something or other. Lots of stuff talked about then. Completely no relevance to me. Went to a pediatrics talk. Hoped to find something to apply on a Monday morning in practice. No. They spent all the time talking about how they set up the pediatric service somewhere in Wales. Didn't learn anything about pediatric feet. So again, I'm quite aware that obviously the Podiatry Society in the UK, the major body, is more NHS focused, but there was very, very limited business help and advice for all our colleagues there in private practice, all our colleagues in Ireland here, anywhere in the world. And I'm sure, I mean, you had Tyson over from Australia there. I mean, that must have been quite good. And you'd have been international photographers coming into Liverpool. I was looking forward to going to Liverpool this year. I've got great friends there. Still trying to get my friend Rachel. We're going to shout out again, Rachel, who's the podiatrist for Liverpool, has been for the last 20 years. She doesn't want to come on and tell us the stories. She has got a non-disclose order, but we're trying to run something past. But she thinks nobody's going to be interested in 20 years of being the Liverpool podiatrist. Come on, Rachel, come and have a chat. And we've got other great friends in Liverpool. So it's would you like to talk to podiatrists who's been a Liverpool podiatrist for the past 20 years, Tony?
Absolutely, yeah. So I'm a massive Liverpool fan, so I would definitely like to.
Come on, Rachel, let's get this done. Anyway, so I was looking forward to that because I mean the program last year, I was having my hip surgery last year, so couldn't come. It was an absolutely fantastic program. Everybody raved about it. It was really good. I mean, and again, that's what you want, something that you can, I suppose it was more, you probably weren't getting NHS practitioners turning up to it, were you?
So we did have a few, yeah, absolutely. We did have some. We had, so with it being the foot and ankle show, it was predominantly podiatrists, but we had orthotists, we had physios, we had sports therapists, you know, we had a wide variety of practitioners there, which was great, and that was speakers and also delegates as well. So it was nice to get that cut through.
Samantha Shelton says the foot and ankle show was excellent last year.
Oh, that's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was pretty, I missed it, but so this year it's going to be online.
It is. It's going to be foot and ankle digital.
So, okay.
Yes, it's going to run differently this year because we went right up into the wire hoping we were going to be able to deliver the actual event. And then we had to make the decision a couple of weeks ago now that the right thing was to push it back to next year. But this year we're still going to be delivering the foot and ankle show, but it's going to be a digital event. So the thing everyone is really keen to find out about is it is absolutely free for everyone to come and attend online. It's completely free.
Fantastic.
So there's no reason not to do it. It's going to be different probably to any other online conference you've been to. So we're going to ensure that you're not going to get kicked out of a live stream. It's going to have a massive choice of talks. It's going to be able to fit your timetable, not our timetable.
Yeah.
It will only be available for the days that the conference was going to run, but you'll be able to choose the order in which you listen to the talks and engage. It's going to use the app that we used last year, which was fantastic. So we'll be encouraging people to download that as well, so they can engage with the conference as well and use it almost as like a remote. There's going to be some specific deals available from our exhibitors as well, because we're keen to make sure that, you know, our exhibitors want to be in front of practitioners, and practitioners want to be engaged with the exhibitors.
One of the main way exhibitors are getting in front of people day to day. It's conferences is the main thing.
Absolutely. So this is all going to be hosted on the OSGO Learning website, and it's going to be super easy to do. The dates in October, and the 16th of October, you'll be able to get on there and consume the foot and ankle show to keep the momentum going, and also to get this valuable CPD out to people as well, because lots of our speakers have been like, what can we do? We still want to engage and pass our messages out. So we've got a really neat solution, which I'm sure everyone's going to be really impressed with, because it's quite different to anything that's out there at the moment.
You know, I'll have to cancel my hotel in Liverpool. Well, actually, I might go over and see Rachel anyway, and Liz, and Mike, and everybody. Why not? I haven't booked the flight yet. I've got to book the hotel, but I booked that ages ago. I was looking forward to it.
Yes.
I mean, the venue right down in the Docklands, the venue there, you know, so next year we'll book up now.
Yes, absolutely. It's a fantastic location. It really is.
It's also the UK Society Conference, just happens to be the next month this year in Liverpool. I mean, is it in the exact same venue?
So it's at the same location. I think they're holding theirs in the older conference centre, kind of on the same site. I believe that's where they booked for those.
But of course, they're going to have to probably go online as well, are they?
Well, I know that the event's cancelled this year. I don't know if they're doing anything online.
Didn't hear that. Yeah, well, not cast any dispersions, but it might take them a little bit more to get everything online. They're going to have the breeder again. We'll see what happens now. Yeah, so.
Yes, it's not easy to deliver something online if that's not what you do all of the time. It takes an enormous amount of work to create a good experience for the delegates, really. So it is an enormous amount of work for anyone who's doing conferences online. I take my hat off to them, because I've seen just how much it does take. It's a huge amount of work, and also it's different for your speakers as well, because speaking on a stage is very different from being sat in front of your laptop or whatever and streaming. It's a very different experience.
Yeah, most definitely. My experience in Firefly 3 years ago, again in Sligo, at the great conference they had there that Martin McGill ran. It was well, I shouldn't have stayed out late till about 3:30 in the morning. Perhaps should have probably rehearsed what I was going to say before. It was all right. I didn't look back at the video for about 2 years, and then I looked at it again, and it wasn't that bad. I thought it was pretty okay, but it's certainly easier doing this.
Yes.
Except I was doing the tarmacking. And so again, of course, and I mean, you know, if you're having to, like, I've had to learn a lot of different things over lockdown and different things. I'm sure we're continuing. You know, every day is a learning day. Of course, you know, this new digital world, you know, on the online platform. I mean, that's obviously just doesn't happen. It has to be.
So that changes quite a lot in terms of who we hire, because our team has continued to grow through lockdown. We've had 3 new appointments since lockdown has begun. So we're bringing in people who have the capacity to do these things, and with some incredible ideas and drive, and allowing us to grow in this space, particularly of what we're doing now. So, and also the technology now allows you to do so much more for creating media, and it really is the opportunity.
We're streaming across 4 or 5 platforms now: YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on with LinkedIn. I think you may need to get invited by LinkedIn or something or other. You know, you just push a button and it's all done. Put one button, there you go. It's absolutely fantastic. And yeah, as you say, you know, it's always worthwhile. I figured that out a while ago. So hire people that are smarter than you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's definitely the way to go. And that's a key thing in growing any business, is making sure you're always looking for talent and looking for those people who can really take you somewhere you couldn't go on your own. And that, of course, it changes massively what you do as the business owner then as well, because it isn't always necessarily about just management. It becomes much more about ensuring that the vision of where the business is going overall, and that you're getting the right people for the right culture fit and the right skill set that you need to take you there. So your own role changes massively as the business owner as well.
Yeah, and I think my business coach, again, Paul Wright, when we talked, and Paul's always been like about this, this is one of the first lessons he taught me years ago, was smart people spend money to save time.
Absolutely. Money is renewable. Money is renewable. You can go and get more money. Time, once it's gone, it's gone. And that is, there's an inverse correlation between being time rich and time poor, and it's fully understanding that, because I think it's a big part of our culture in exchanging our time for money, and this indoctrinated belief of working harder will always be the answer to getting more money. So hard work is a good thing to do, and it's great to have a really good solid work ethic, but making sure that hard work gets its full value through doing the most important things, and also allowing other people who have particular talents to be able to do things better than you ever could. It's getting over that, because just because you can do something yourself really doesn't mean you should. And even just because you enjoy doing something doesn't mean you should necessarily be doing it for your business either. And they're quite hard lessons to learn for a lot of people, but once you get beyond that, the returns are so much greater in terms of what the business can deliver, seeing other engaged, happy, fulfilled people working within your business. Those rewards are enormous. And money is, it's always a hot topic in businesses which are perhaps not insulated from difficult situations, lean times, or being able to reinvest. And that changes the focus on decision making to be very much more transactional. And business owners will concentrate on how much is it going to cost me now? How much am I going to get back in this next week? That's a good idea or a bad idea. And we don't always make the best decisions when we have those forces applied to us. So getting to a position where where the business is insulated from immediate decisions, allows you to make really good long-term decisions as to where a business can go. And it's fully understanding what you actually want from your business, isn't it, that allows you to get there.
And as you touched on earlier, again, getting somebody in with fresh eyes into the business, probably from a different industry, will give you, expand the horizons, maybe things you never even thought of. And I mean, I know, and I'll give myself a plug, justinblakemedia.com is my new venture since February. And I think I was sitting down, I can't remember what I was doing, and I was like, oh, why am I doing this? Oh, God. I was straight on to Upwork, got somebody, got them to do it. It was back done in 2-3 hours. I would have taken, I think it was, I don't remember, got my podcast, still have to launch my podcast. That was what I was going to originally do.
Yes.
Well, I don't know about that. I said about the LMS things, I don't know anything about that. Find people on Upwork or Fiverr, get the best brains in. Everybody, my ebook lady's Hungarian, the guy who does the front covers of them in somewhere else, the podcast guys in the States, the other guys were in the States yesterday. My friend Chris, my Google AdWords guy, used to be in Isle of Wight, now he's down in Spain. I mean, quick email. The lady who does my the crunching of my patient stats and numbers was a lady in Pakistan. I mean, she's unbelievable. Or rectifying when you get an Excel file from Excel and stuff, and you'd have to go through and rectify it. I'll send it hers back in an hour. Costs about $20. Oh, I'd go and have a coffee. I could spend like 6 hours doing it. I mean, smart people spend money to save time. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. And getting to that place where the business can do things in an automated fashion that's always where I try and drive towards. So decide what it is you want to happen as a system. Make sure that you build a system, whether it's through outsourcing or someone within the business or using some piece of technology. Make sure that it's at the highest standard it can be and repeatable, so that you no longer have to think about that again. And that clears a lot of the hard drive in your head. It clears a lot of space. It reduces a lot of stress, and it allows you to be much more creative, enthusiastic, and put your energy into your real value of what you can deliver to your business. Because I'm more than capable of doing my business's accounts and doing the bookkeeping, but it would take so much of my time and energy away from it. It would only be.
Everybody's always saying they've got a stack of paper. Best in every bit. I think our friend Connor's on earlier on. Connor, we share the same bookkeeper, Pamela. Best €50 I spend every week. Yeah. Connor comes in Thursday afternoon. She's there from about 1:30 to about 5. I meet her every second week to sign checks. Tell me how much money I owe the tax man. That's it. It's fantastic. No more paperwork, no more books, no more files. She does all that. Does all the pay slips, talks to the tax man. €50. Bloody hell, one patient. Half the patient what I was charging.
Yes.
And let's get on to fees and prices and charging, because this has been an ongoing theme in all my talks all the way through. And again, I'm sure with you, I mean, I got criticized for on one talk when they were like, how much should you put it up? I was like, double it. Ray Anthony told me that years ago. Double your fees, see half the patients, do the same work. So get earn the same money, people, and it was never. It isn't this crazy guy just going on double it. Of course, again, it was like, if you're going to charge higher fees, you got to pay higher, give better service, better value. Again, nobody just buys the cheapest phone, the cheapest car, the cheapest holiday. They're looking for value. People will be price shopped, but if they perceive value.
Absolutely. So I've probably got a couple of things to share around this. First of all, I will start this with, particularly in the world of podiatry, the value of podiatry has never been fully captured. We have only captured a tiny percentage of it, which is why we have the challenges we have as a profession.
Yeah.
If we had fully captured the value, the profession would be so much more robust, which would mean it would have a better brand. We would attract more talent. We'd have more robust businesses existing in private practice. We'd be reinvesting in equipment, in research. The entire industry of foot health would be in a much better shape than it is.
Tide floats all the boats.
So absolutely, that's something I believe is a big problem podiatry has, is we've never captured its real value. We have undervalued it, and I think that comes out of a perception that the price we charge is the price that's going in the practitioner's pocket, which is the wrong mindset for me. The personal rewards is a very different part of the equation in a business as to what you need to earn to sustain your lifestyle, but the value of podiatry is something quite different. Because if you go and see a lawyer who will charge you £190 an hour, he's not making the £190 an hour. She's not making that for 8 hours a day. It doesn't work like that, because what that industry fully understands is that they need to be robust, they need to be sophisticated, they need the highest standards of administration, of marketing, of office space, of the insurances, of developing their own education, and that fee fully reflects what they need to do to exist and make sure they have a future. So we're a long way from that. So that's my first point. And my second.
Yes, sorry, just Diane Ashcroft says, yeah, we undervalue. We undervalue our own value.
Yes.
And then Adna from Brazil wants to know, do we speak Portuguese? Do you speak any Portuguese? Obrigado is about as far.
Not a word.
I used Google Translate when I'm talking about Portuguese people who are on my Facebook groups and different things. It's fantastic. It's so easy. And they can tell, of course, like you're using a translator, but we can get the point across. So your second point, sorry, was
my second point around is thinking about what a price is, because money immediately becomes emotive. It immediately is an emotive subject, and we all have our own money values and mindsets that we have on it. But I think what really helps is to understand that a price is not a real thing. It's an abstract concept. It's something that sits between the product and sits between the customer, whatever that product is. And it's something which whoever creates the product or manufactures it, they put it out into the world and they offer it at a price. That is viewed by the person who's selling it and the person who's buying it, and they look at it from two different sides. The person who is buying it is thinking, is that worth it to me? Is that going to work for me? Am I getting what I want at that price point? And if you think about the world and the billions of people within it, you're going to have every flavor of money values, personal values that you can imagine. You will have people who would never spend less than £300 on a pair of shoes, and you're going to have people who buy their shoes from the supermarket at £10 a pair. You're going to have everything. They all want something different, and there's no morality around that. It's people want different things and see value in different things. Yes, we live in a world where things are not equal. We live in a world where opportunities are not always equal. And those things really do need separating out from. If you're operating a business in a capitalist economy, you have an obligation to your patients that your business survives, reinvests, and has a long-term future. And to fulfill that obligation, it has to have a price point which is met to do those things. So understanding that the price is not you asking this individual for this money to go in your pocket for your time. What you're saying is this product is worth this much. This is what I'm offering at, and they have a free choice if they accept it or not. Because for Apple to put on for Apple to sell me a new album, the actual unit cost for them to sell it to me is a fraction of a penny for them to load it onto their store and to sell it.
A pair of these doesn't cost 40 quid. A pair of new Nike trainers doesn't cost, what you're paying for is the watt. We talked about this morning with Dave and Kate and Celia. Plus also, it's $1.50 to make in whatever place they make it. We've got to pay for Tiger Woods sponsorship and things like that as well out of the back of it. And what did Nike make last year? I can't remember. So a few billion. It was only 3 or 4 billion. But
it's about the value to the individual. So we all pay our money to different companies for the things that give us value. I pay a lot of money when the world's not like this, to Starbucks, because I enjoy the experience of going in Starbucks for a coffee. And that to me is value for a cup of coffee that's costing them about 7p to make. And I'm not buying.
The thing is the milk, apparently.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I think when we're selling our services, we need to understand, does this fee reflect the value it's giving to the people who are going to want it? Because some people will not want to pay a single pound for a service, and some people will have absolutely no regard for what it costs, as long as it does what they want it to do.
Sorry for cutting across you again. Diane says, can you finish what you were saying about pricing, please, Tony? Can't remember what we were saying. Stick up your face.
It's not a real thing. It's a projection. It's you putting a number out into the world and saying, this is my best guess of what I think this is worth to you. And that's also tempered with, this is my best guess as to what I think the business needs to achieve from this product so the business can continue running. And I think if we do that, it allows us to separate our own personal money values from it and our own emotions around it. Because if you were to ask me to do a job for you, Justin, and say, I want you to do this for me, how much are you going to charge me? That's quite a personal thing. And I will then ask myself the question of, oh, what's fair to charge Justin? How much time is it going to take? What's it worth in that aspect? But if I owned a shop and you were to come and take a packet of cornflakes off the shelf, it would be very clear as to what that value of packet of cornflakes is. And if I'd managed to buy a caseload of cornflakes at £10 a box, you're not going to be too bothered, because you're happy to pay £2 a pack, because you know that's what the value of the cornflakes are. And I think in our industry, we've not been good at setting the value of what we do. There's a couple of things we have been able to do it with, and that's been nail surgery being a particular example, because there's an element of certainty around the outcome. And people are much happier to hang their hat and say, this price is a fair price, because I know it's going to change your life. I know it's going to take you out of misery. I know it's going to get better, and it's not going to come back and be a problem for you. So I can put a high ticket on that reflects what the business actually needs to achieve from it. But I don't think we've always been good at doing that with our other services.
Okay. And do you think there's room, or there could be a sort of option, as with, you talked about the pharmacy industry earlier on, and I know dentists do it as well, you know, that year or so after you qualify, you get into a mentoring sort of type of situation in clinics that, you know, to develop, rather than just letting you loose and see you later?
Yeah, so I think that's certainly something we need to look at, as the profession's got a number of challenges, particularly in the UK, and recruitment being the big challenge that faces us first and foremost.
Sadly, last year ran a huge campaign, really good, on social media. I mean, that's it. We're struggling. We're to get new people into the profession. You know,
absolutely. And I'm working with the Foot Health Consortium as we are developing strategies to engage with the profession to take us on the journey to bring new graduates in. I'm also doing some work with University of Plymouth in terms of promoting their new online apprenticeship program, which allows a private practice business owner to take on an apprentice, and they can do a remote learning degree, either a BSc or an MSc pre-reg. And as your apprentice in your business, after 2 or 3 years, they become a fully qualified podiatrist. So that's going to break down a lot of barriers to bringing in new podiatrists.
Right. So that's going to be, okay, that's very interesting. And where can we find out more information about that? Well, you'll be able to tell us.
Yeah, so if you go to our Facebook page, there's a video on there playing, explaining, with a link through, or you can contact us at the office at inquiries at osgo.co.uk, and we can put you in contact, because the UK government will actually pay almost all of the education fees. So it's free education for the students, and the employer pays over 3 years. They pay £1,200, so £400 a year, to get yourself a brand newly minted podiatrist who can work in your practice as they're learning. So
I'm not going to do it. I mean, I did, you know, I told you, retired. And,
yes.
there's so much opportunity in Dublin and Ireland at the moment. You know, I mean, there's so many things. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, and then it's like, no, not opening any more clinics. I've done all that. That's in the UK. Jesus. I mean, that's phenomenal. That's absolutely phenomenal.
It's a game changer, and it's what's been needed in this profession to help address that imbalance, and also for the world of private practice to shoulder some of the burden and to reinvest into the development of the profession. And it will also force the structure of private practices to be teaching practices that are actually developing and much more engagement. So I'm massively optimistic about what this can do for the profession as a whole, and I think it is going to be the future.
That sounds like, and I mean, is Plymouth, it's Portsmouth or Plymouth?
Plymouth, yes.
Sorry, is Plymouth going to be like the model for, and then it's going to be rolled out across all the podiatry schools, or?
So who knows what the other schools are doing? I know there's another solution through SME, who are taking on another route of developing and routes into a blended learning route for training podiatrists. We're seeing other universities doing apprenticeships on site. So we are seeing lots now coming to the fore of different routes of doing this. But as far as I'm aware at the moment, none of the others are doing it. That's not to say that they won't in the future. So we'll see how this one develops.
Okay, and again, you just touched on sort of Facebook or all your Facebook groups. What is all that about? Colleagues who just spend, I mean, there's some colleagues who I would think, spend more time complaining on the Facebook mum groups about how the fees and the non-qualified people and stuff. And it's like, actually, if you just closed down your computer and went and spent that time that you've just done moaning on here on your practice would be a lot better. You wouldn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
What is all that? You're aware of those groups.
I kind of understand it as well, because if things seem unfair or unequal, and there's a lot of issues within the world of foot health around non-regulation of practitioners, and I understand both sides of all of the arguments, and I always have. However, I think it's very easy to go on a Facebook group and find someone who agrees with you, and I don't think that fixes the problem, though. I think we need to be pragmatic and say, how do we solve as many of these problems as we can so that podiatry has a great future, so that patients are safe, and so we have a way to go. So for me, I try and focus on, I go in those groups and I want to know what people's thoughts and opinions and beliefs are, because that's really important, and I want to be able to connect with them. But I also think we need to actually do pragmatic things that make the situation better. Now, we can't just solve the whole issue overnight, because we have this thing called laws in the way, which won't allow you to do the things that lots of people want to have happen. We also have people and people's lives and people's livelihoods in this mix as well. So we have to look at the situation and think, what are the good things that we can do that take us in the direction of where we want to be? And that's certainly what I try to do in my work on the leadership group of the Foot Health Consortium, and also my engagement with podiatrists as well, because I get asked the question a lot. And I think there's a knee-jerk reaction about a lot of people would just like to see unregulated practitioners completely closed down and not allowed to practice. But I think we have to work within the reality of what the world is and what's currently happening, and also look for the opportunities that lie within that as well. I think that's the smart thing to do, because ultimately
opportunities at the moment, because guess what? We're in the healthcare business. Guess what? Healthcare is booming.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think a lot of colleagues come from this scarcity mentality. Yeah.
Yes. It can quite often be, it's hard to look at a problem and think in a positive way around the solution. It can sometimes be the obvious go-to to look for something external to blame as the reason. And I fully understand why that is the first initial reaction to want to do that. But it doesn't actually fix the problem. It just reinforces in your own mind why the problem exists, and it stops useful activity from happening to make things better for everyone. Because I think what we have to do in all of this is always keep the patients at the front and center, and think about what matters to the patient and work towards that, making sure that it's a safe world for patients, that there's adequate supply for patients. And I think as long as we do those things, we'll move in the right direction. But there's a lot of hard work to do in that space. There really is.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a great thing. I mean, it is. I mean, that's a great thing about podiatry is it is so diverse, and you can work in so many different areas. You know, and I had a great, you know, ski stuff, you know, dance medicine, rehabilitation with runners and things, foot mobilization. I mean, there's been a whole, you can do rheumatology, podiatric surgery. I mean, there's a whole gamut of podiatry that's out there. So something for everyone, really. Anyway, the guys are on the vibrator thing again. About, you know, they're tarmac. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be a lovely job. We finished this evening because I know you've got the kids. I've got the kids coming. They want to go pier jumping, even though it's raining. The water's quite warm. The water's quite warm at the moment. So yeah. So yeah. Yeah, we'll talk again. I can't wait. It's October. What did you say? 15th, 16th, 16th?
So 16th, 17th of October. It's going to be online. I'm sure if you go and look at our Facebook channel, the OSGO page on Facebook, then you'll get the updates, and we'll be pushing out messages about how to get on there, get registered, and get it done. It's going to be free for everyone. So probably that's a good place to find out, or drop us an email at the office, or
everybody loves free. Everybody loves free. You know, but again, then there's no point going and doing it and attending, and then if you don't implement it and use it in your practice, I mean, that's the whole thing.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It'll stimulate ideas, and it'll stimulate, you know, changes, and there's, you know, there'll be talks for the background. I mean, of course, I'm sure that's the difference between the live show is the breakout stuff and the crack that happens in the bar. I always found the best one was in the bar afterwards, and that's where you get the most ideas. So that bouncing ideas off colleagues and things, you might lose a little bit of that, but I'm sure, you know, and again on the Facebook pages it will generate a lot of interest. So yeah, the whole place is shaking here. So Tony, let you get on with your afternoon. Have fun with the kids, and
thank you, and thank you for having me on.
No, not at all. You know, pleasure's all mine. So thanks everybody. I think that's it for this week. I can't even remember what we're doing later on this week. Thanks very much, Tony. We'll talk soon. You hang on there. I'll finish the broadcast. And anybody get any questions or wants to contact us, you know, usual channels. Speak soon. Cheerio. This just